Hey there, fellow gardeners. Welcome back to Smart Garden. Are your garden leaves looking like abstract art, riddled with squiggly lines and mysterious tunnels? That's the work of a notorious pest, the leaf miner. Before you reach for those harsh chemical sprays, what if I told you there's a completely natural, often ignored, no-spray solution that could save your plants and your peace of mind? You won't believe how simple it is. Today, we're diving deep into a method that most gardeners overlook, but one that can transform how you manage these frustrating pests while keeping your garden ecosystem thriving and healthy. So, those telltale squiggly lines winding across your plant leaves aren't just cosmetic blemishes, they're actually the feeding trails of leaf miner larvae, which are these tiny invaders that tunnel between the upper and lower surfaces of leaves. Basically, they're mining their way through plant tissue as they feed. These serpentine tunnels, they start out narrow and then widen as the larvae grow, creating those distinctive white or tan patterns that make your plants look like, well, someone drew abstract designs with a thin marker. What makes leaf miners particularly insidious is that they're protected inside the leaf tissue itself, hidden away from predators and most treatments that gardeners typically throw at them. Beyond just the unsightly appearance, leaf miner damage seriously compromises plant health and productivity. As these larvae tunnel through the leaf, they're destroying chlorophyll-producing cells, which means your plants can't photosynthesize as efficiently. This reduction in energy production leads to stunted growth, weakened plants, and significantly reduced yields in vegetable crops. Heavy infestations can cause premature leaf drop, leaving plants vulnerable to other stresses like heat, drought, or additional pest attacks. In young seedlings or transplants, even moderate leaf miner damage can be devastating, potentially killing plants before they become established. Leaf miners aren't picky eaters, but they do have their favorites. Spinach, chard, beets, and other leafy greens top their preferred dining list, which is why, vegetable gardeners often encounter these pests first. However, they also attack ornamentals like columbine, chrysanthemums, and verbena, along with citrus trees in warmer climates. Even tomato plants can fall victim to certain leaf miner species. Understanding which plants in your garden are most susceptible really helps you focus your monitoring efforts and catch infestations early, when they're honestly the easiest to manage. Here's the frustrating truth that sends so many gardeners down the wrong path. Conventional chemical sprays are, remarkably ineffective against leaf miners. The larvae are literally sealed inside the leaf tissue, protected by the plant's own epidermis, almost like they're in a tiny fortress. When you spray a pesticide on the leaf surface, it simply can't penetrate to reach the feeding larvae. You might kill the adult flies that lay eggs on your plants, but by the time you notice the damage, the larvae are already safely tunneled inside, merrily continuing their destructive feast despite your chemical arsenal. This is why gardeners often spray repeatedly, seeing no results and becoming increasingly frustrated. What's worse than wasting money on ineffective sprays is the collateral damage they cause to your garden ecosystem. Broad-spectrum insecticides don't discriminate. They kill beneficial insects alongside the pests. Parasitic wasps, ladybugs, lacewings, and other natural predators that could help control leaf miners and dozens of other pests are wiped out by these chemical applications. This creates a vicious cycle where pest populations bounce back even stronger because their natural enemies are gone, leading to more spraying, more beneficial insect deaths, and an increasingly unbalanced garden environment. You essentially create a sterile battlefield where only the most resistant pests survive. The forgotten alternative that gardeners consistently overlook isn't some exotic solution or expensive garden gadget. It's a combination of simple observation, gentle physical intervention, and working with nature instead of against it. This approach has been used successfully by organic farmers and savvy gardeners for generations, yet it remains surprisingly unknown in mainstream gardening circles. The beauty of this method is that it's free, immediately effective, and actually improves your garden's overall health rather than degrading it. The power of observation is your first weapon against leaf miners. Instead of waiting until damage is severe, make it a habit to inspect your susceptible plants every few days, paying special attention to new growth and the undersides of leaves where adult flies prefer to lay their eggs. Look for those characteristic white or translucent tunnels, but also watch for tiny, white elongated eggs laid individually or in small clusters on leaf surfaces. The earlier you catch an infestation, the easier it is to manage without any damage to your harvest or ornamental display. Once you've identified a leaf miner tunnel, here comes the surprisingly satisfying part, the gentle squeeze. Follow the squiggly tunnel with your eyes to locate where it ends. That's where the larva is actively feeding. Using your thumb and forefinger, gently but firmly, press the leaf together at that spot, squishing the larva inside. You'll often feel a slight pop, and when you examine the leaf afterward, you'll see a dark spot where the larva was crushed. This physical removal is immediately effective, doesn't harm the plant, and gives you direct control over the pest population. For leaves with heavy tunnel damage or multiple larvae, simply remove the entire leaf and dispose of it in the trash rather than your compost pile, unless you maintain a hot composting system that reaches temperatures high enough to kill pupae. The tools you need for this approach are laughably simple and probably already in your garden shed. Your hands are your primary tools for the squishing method, though some gardeners prefer wearing thin gloves for comfort. A pair of sharp pruning shears or scissors makes removing heavily infested leaves quick and clean. A small magnifying glass can help you spot eggs and young larvae more easily, especially if your eyesight isn't what it used to be. That's it, no expensive sprayers, protective gear, or chemical storage concerns. Companion planting offers one of your best defensive strategies against leaf miners before they become a problem. Planting aromatic herbs like dill, fennel, cilantro, and yarrow throughout your garden serves a dual purpose. These plants produce flowers rich in nectar and pollen that attract parasitic wasps, tiny beneficial insects that lay their eggs inside leaf miner larvae. When the wasp eggs hatch, they consume the leaf miner from the inside out, providing natural biological control without you lifting a finger. These same flowers also attract hoverflies, whose larvae feed on aphids, giving you, broader pest management benefits. Creating a diverse planting scheme with these attractant plants interspersed among your vegetables essentially builds a standing army of beneficial insects ready to tackle pests naturally. Crop rotation wisdom extends beyond disease management to pest control as well. Leaf miner pupae overwinter in the soil beneath their host plants, emerging as adult flies the following spring to start the cycle again. By rotating your susceptible crops, especially leafy greens and beets, to different garden areas each year, you break this cycle. Garden hygiene habits might sound tedious, but they're absolutely critical for preventing recurring infestations. At the end of each growing season, thoroughly clean up all plant debris from susceptible crops, removing it from your garden entirely, rather than leaving it to decompose in place. Those seemingly harmless dead leaves and stems harbor overwintering pupae that will emerge next spring to restart the infestation cycle. Similarly, you should control weeds like lamb's quarters and pigweed, since they can actually serve as alternative host plants for leaf miners. This no-spray approach to leaf miners, well, it represents something much bigger than just managing a single pest. It's really a gateway into understanding integrated pest management and regenerative gardening principles that, work with natural systems rather than constantly fighting against them. The long-term benefits of reducing or, even eliminating chemical use in your garden extend far beyond just solving the immediate pest problem. Your soil microbiome stays intact and actually improves over time, which really supports stronger root systems and more resilient plants. Your resilient garden starts with small changes, like the leaf miner management we've talked about today, but it eventually grows into a completely different gardening philosophy. This approach empowers you to tackle future pest challenges with confidence, knowing you have multiple tools at your disposal beyond just chemical sprays. Whether it's aphids, caterpillars, or well, any other common garden pests, the same principles apply. Observe, physically remove when needed, encourage natural predators, and maintain a healthy ecosystem that naturally keeps pests in check. If you found this guide helpful and want to transform your gardening approach with more natural, effective solutions like this one, make sure to subscribe to Smart Garden and hit that notification bell so you never miss our practical gardening tips. Share this video with your fellow gardeners who might be struggling with leaf miners or, honestly, anyone interested in building a healthier, more sustainable garden. Together, we're growing not just plants, but a community of informed, empowered gardeners who understand that the best solutions are often the simplest ones that work with nature rather than against it. Happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next video.